Hello everybody, today I just wanted to make a tier list on my opinion on what the strongest class and worst classes are going to be going into Season 1. So let's go ahead and hop right into it. So first off, Druid, I'm going to put that in S tier. The reason why it's S tier is because Rampaging Werebeast did not get nerfed, and with the addition of Malignant Hearts that do boost quite a bit of Druid's damage in different ways. You have things like the Barber, you have things like Creeping Death. I fully suspect there to be some combination that is even more broken because they decided to not nerf Rampaging Werebeast. Yes, the Unstoppable got nerfed. That's not that big of a deal. Druid has Earthen Bulwark and other things like that. It's not really that big of a deal to not have Unstoppable because when you're comparing it to the other classes, most of the classes don't have access to Perma Unstoppable. So that's not really a factor in terms of like S to D to me. And not only that, everybody's defense also got nerfed. So in my opinion, everybody pretty much got a net negative on defense with this patch. So I'm not really factoring in defense. Like I'm pretty much going as if defense didn't change because everybody got nerfed. So that means there really isn't a balance change in terms of defense. So yeah, but that's it. Not only that, they have a good build variety. They do have kind of a linear way of starting, you know, running the companion stuff. So it does make it to where it's a little boring, I think, leveling, because I feel like you really do need to run all the companion stuff for Druid's leveling to not be too bad. However, if you do level in World Tier 1, like I released in the leveling guide, I will say that even without legendaries, I was having an extremely easy time leveling. So you know, just don't go into World Tier 2, stay in World Tier 1, and you should be fine leveling. I really don't think the Druid's leveling experience has ever been as bad as what people are saying. I think it's been overblown. And I think the issue with the class is that it's just a little bit complex, so it's not friendly for casual players. That being said, the class is pretty fun, good build variety, and it's going to be super, super strong at the end game. Maybe even stronger, depending on how the Rampaging Werebeast combos with the Malignant powers. So, that being said, S tier for the Druid. Moving right along with the Rogue. I'm going to put the Rogue in A tier because I'm not certain that they're going to have as much in-game power as the Druid. However, they have a godlike leveling build. Like if we are going strictly off leveling, Rogue is S tier. If we are going strictly off speed farming, Rogue is S tier. But if you're looking at in-game pushing, that's kind of where the Rogue I think is going to fall down a bit. Also with the defense nerfs, that is just man, like Rogue already was squishy and now it's gonna be even worse. So yeah, so like that's like really unfortunate. Granted, again, everybody's defenses got hit hard, but there is one class in particular that I will go over where those changes are astronomically bad. So but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the Rogue. Great leveling experience overall, great fun speed farming in-game builds. It has strong Uber Lilith killing builds, etc. So I think it's definitely worthy of A tier. I'm sure some would probably argue to put it in S, but I don't think anybody would argue to put it below A. Alright, so Barbarian. So the thing about Barbarian is Hoda got nerfed, so I almost want to just put them in B tier because their leveling experience is pretty poor. Like this is a class where like without legendaries, yes, it does actually feel kind of bad to level. Whereas like the Druid, if you play very specifically, it's fine. But with this, it's like, I don't know. I'd have to go test it out again, but I didn't care for its leveling experience. It's not very great. However, the class is fun, but the defenses all got nerfed, and they only have a couple of good builds. You know, they have like Whirlwind, they have Hoda, but I don't think they have enough build variety and stuff like the Rogue and like what the Druid does for me to warrant putting them in A or S tier. Because if you play Barb, you're probably going to be playing like one of 3 builds, whereas if you play Rogue or Druid, you have like 5 to 10 builds you could choose from. Like really? So yeah. That being said, I do think Barb isn't too bad, and I might be lowballing it a bit. Maybe B tiers. I don't know, but I feel like B tier's a good spot for the Barb. You know, it does have some strong builds, but I don't think it's like the all-rounder that the Druid is, and it doesn't have like the variety, the speed, and the leveling experience and stuff like that of the Rogue. So, alright, so moving on to Necro. So, this is going to be an interesting take. I think A tier. However, and hear me out. Hear me out. If you're playing Infinimist, I actually think it's going to be S tier. There is some stuff that came out with the Malignant Hearts that makes me highly suspect that the Shadow Mist build is going to be much stronger. Specifically, there is a Malignant Heart that is a 50 to 75% damage increase. Now, the one thing that is holding me back is I don't know if it's multiplicative or if it's additive, but it's pretty much says, you know, like whenever you, as long as you have like full essence or something like that, or no essence, I forget, one of the two. As long as you have no or full essence, it makes it to where you get 50 to 75% increased damage. So that's kind of crazy because Infinimus is kind of an essenceless build. It does not use essence really at all. So that's kind of crazy. And not only that, while all of these other classes got nerfed, the Infinimus build is like pretty much perma immune. Yes, the CDR got nerfed, but Decrepify did not get nerfed, and that's a main way you get CDR. So for that, so I don't know. I'm kind of thinking pretty highly of the Necro when it comes to Infinimus. Yes, Bone Spear got nerfed, but minions also got buffed pretty decently. Necros also got, in my opinion, the coolest unique as well. The one that I think is absolutely someone's going to find a combo for, the Lidless Wall. I think there has to be a combo out there for that makes that insane, having all those Bone Storms and all that. So, because Bone Storm is just a super good ability, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. But I think it's A tier. I think they have a great leveling experience as well. I think the builds are very fun to play. The only downside to the Necro is it's not very mobile, and I think that's the biggest downside and probably the only downside to playing Necro at the moment, in my opinion. So, moving on to the last class, and I know everybody's probably going to know exactly where I'm putting this. S tier. Now hear me out. Just kidding. F tier. Oh my god, if you play Sorcerer, you're a masochist. The reason why is that they already had to run 4 defensive abilities in almost every single one of their builds. And then God, I almost said Riot. Jesus, I play way too much League of Legends. Holy crap. Why did I just... Anyway, don't play League. It infects your brain. But Blizzard, in their infinite wisdom, decided to nerf survivability of the Sorcerer. The Sorcerer was already, like, once you get, like, even by, like, at-level things, the Sorcerer could struggle in some situations if they weren't running, like, 4 different defensives. Like, that's nuts. Like, and then they decide nerf disobedience. They decide to nerf secondaries by like 30%. They decide to nerf cooldown reduction, so you can't even have those defenses up even more. Dude, this class, and not only that, they also nerf things like Devouring Blaze, so that, like, I think the fire build's crit damage is going way down. Like, my gosh, like, and the buffs they gave them were to like all resist or something like that. So like, I just can't, like, with this one. Like, I just absolutely, like, I am not someone that thinks this pessimistically. However, I'm sorry, but Blizzard did Sorcerers dirty on this patch. I would suspect that after the season starts, there's going to be a hotfix. Now, in terms of in-game builds, I do think that there is some interesting stuff that could potentially happen, right? Because again, I think the Barber, I do think the Malignant Hearts are interesting, and I think that Sorcerer's build damage overall might not be too bad. I think the Malignant Hearts are going to buff it a decent amount, but the sheer weight of what the defense drop did to it is, this is just, it's going to be so hard to play this class, because even if you have like enough damage, you know, if you get one-tapped by everything, like, it doesn't matter, right? So I don't think they're going to be struggling in the damage department, but man, you're really going to have a tough time in the in-game, I think, if you play a Sorcerer. Leveling experience, still good though, so they have that going for them. Maybe I'm being harsh with D. Maybe I could put it in C, but, like, I don't know. I just think this is the worst class to be playing right now. Like, you could pick any of these and it's like, oh yeah, cool, no problem. But, like, this one is like, whew, yikes. Just yikes. Anyway, let me know your opinion in the comments below. That's going to be it for this video. Like, subscribe if you want to see more. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks.